Dragon Slayer, Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz, Unicorn Trainer. This list is the top 10 jobs kids dream of being when they grow up. Well, my list was not so imaginative. I wanted to be a fashion model, and you all get to sit through my first photo shoot. Lucky you. Self-expression through fashion has been one of my lifelong passions. I know many of you may think it's trivial, but fashion has been a part of my life in many beautiful and profound ways. I was blessed to have wonderful parents and a happy childhood that included countless cherished shopping trips with my mom and dad. You see, my parents were masters of style before the F word, fashionista, was even added to the dictionary. And they created a little fashionista in me. So much so, I was the only one wearing velvet blazers to school in the 6th grade. We usually go shopping midweek at the local department store called McDonald's. Definitely not the one with the golden arches. We enter the store, go to our respective departments, and like clockwork, I'd pick up a fabulous statement piece and plead with my parents to buy it for me. To the regular eye, this may seem like a simple shopping trip or that I was really spoiled, but it wasn't. It was magical for me. For my family, it was freeing, an escape from the seriousness happening in life. But more importantly, it was time I get to spend with my parents doing something they love. So, of course, I loved it. It was our ritual until it ended abruptly. In 6th grade, the first year of testing for scoliosis started in my elementary school. I had scoliosis. Of course, I didn't know what that meant, but I soon learned. I was one of 2 to 3% of the population in the US affected by scoliosis. It sounded special, but I found out it was actually closer to being related to the humpback of Notre Dame. This diagnosis ended my fashion journey and began my back nightmare. In 7th grade, those socially formative years, I had to wear a back brace 23 out of 24 hours a day. I had to wear this horrible plastic hard shell that was meant to prevent my scoliosis from getting worse by stunting the growth of my spine. But instead, it stunted my dreams of fashion and the runway model I just knew I was meant to be. I didn't want anyone to know what was underneath my clothes. My solution was to wear oversized long tops that were unshapely and sightless. I prayed nobody touched me, or even worse, when it was time for a new brace, picked up a piece of my disintegrating brace that left a trail of white pieces behind me as it died a slow death and I fell to pieces on the inside. I was mortified, and just like in The Wizard of Oz, I wanted a pair of those magical ruby red shoes to click 3 times and take me back home. With the support of my parents, I made it through junior high school. But the family shopping bonding trips ended. My body image was destroyed, and I broke up with a fundamental part of me. I never worked in the fashion industry, but my love for fashion never strayed. Despite many decades of dealing with my back, I spent plenty of fun years with fashion, collecting and wearing amazing pieces from all over the world. Fast forward many, many years to 2015. Life threw me a curve, literally. My scoliosis progressed, and by 2018, I had no quality of life due to excruciating pain. It was time for surgery. A 10-hour major surgery to rebuild and straighten my spine. Since my surgery, fashion has been my savior and my nemesis. Fashion has been a huge part of my recovery. You see, I'm single, I live by myself, I have to be independent. I have extreme exhaustion and I can't bend, lift, or twist. Opening boxes, trying on clothes, sending back returns, that was my PT, OT, and exercise. Also, shopping for mainstream fashion kept me hopeful. I immerse myself in fashion and go to another world in my imagination of fantasy and glamour. Yes, I saw myself going to fashion shows all over the world and even walking down the red carpet. It was the only time I felt no pain. It allowed me to escape. And maybe I could be that model now. I'm almost 3 inches taller. But fashion has also been my nemesis. In every mainstream outfit that you saw me in the beginning, I needed help from a person or a tool with at least one item in that outfit. I've had so many difficulties getting dressed, from not being able to open and close zippers on my back and side to putting on shoes. I needed adaptive clothing specifically designed for people with disabilities. But finding clothing with style was elusive. And shoes. Shoes are my wicked witch of the West. With no flexibility in my back, trying to buckle, tie, and even put on pull-on shoes has taken me to task. I can only dream of those glitzy, glamorous red bottom high heel shoes. So sweats and sneakers have been my go-to outfit. There are approximately 53 companies and entrepreneurs making adaptive fashion for people with varying disabilities, injuries, recovering from surgery, and the aging population. Yes, only 53. Most focus on comfort, ease, and getting dressed. But they are often very frumpy. They're also very important, though. There are people out there who are disabled who want more than this. They are worthy of access to clothing that makes them feel chic, elegant, pretty, fierce, sexy, sophisticated, handsome, or professional, or whatever they want to feel. You might be asking, why would people with disabilities want fashion-forward clothing and shoes? There's a dynamic relationship between personal style and getting dressed that can make you feel wonderful, confident, believe in yourself, or even be life-changing. People make judgments about who you are within the first 30 seconds of meeting you. So what you wear may be important to your self-esteem. Also, everybody can believe in that magical feeling of a dream fulfilled or the disappointment of a dream dashed. Remember The Wizard of Oz? Or even more close to home, the sought-after American dream? Believing in a dream can ignite or dim a light in a person, and if that dream has to do with fashion, an outfit can change how you appear to people, not necessarily because of what you're wearing, but because you're glowing from the inside out. The energy is undeniable. It's emotional. It's like the visceral reaction felt when a movie transforms itself from sepia to Technicolor. Also, most people can get dressed without even thinking about the actual process of putting on clothes. Most people shop and can find any style of clothing they want for any occasion. Think about it. There are so many different fashion styles, from monochromatic to trendy to grunge to bohemian to black tie. However, people with disabilities have very few choices, struggle every day to find fashion-forward clothing, and often have to improvise. The United Nations estimates there are 8 billion people worldwide and 1 billion are living with a disability. The fashion industry needs to step into 2022 and acknowledge that fashionable, adaptive clothing and shoes need to be a bigger part of the discussion. And profit and difficulty cannot be an excuse. The Return on Disability estimates that the disposable income of people with disabilities is $8 trillion, and even more with family and friends. That is serious purchasing power, yet their needs are invisible. If you can design new collections every season, designing for plus size and pets, the skills and imagination are there, and the profits will follow. Also, technology is already there too. 3D printing, advanced manufacturing, unique supply chains, and now the metaverse are allowing for greater flexibility and customization. Use these same technologies to design affordable, fashionable clothing and adaptive fashion and shoes alongside other specialized categories of fashion. Now, my background's technology and intellectual property. I could go in really deep here. That's another talk for another day. So the answers to this problem are in creating a culture of diversity, inclusion, and belonging in every area of every facet of a person with a disability. What if we let change extend beyond basic laws? What if we allow empathy into our hearts? We can create more ways for people with disabilities to really live. This is priceless. Now, I've said this as a Black person, I said this as a woman, and now I'm saying it as a person with a disability. Oh yeah, ageism. I'm a lot older than I look. For this to happen, companies and its employees must change the way they think about disabilities. It is not a taboo word. The environment should foster diversity and inclusion and accept people with disabilities for who they are and their unique contributions, because it's about creating beautiful clothes and shoes. Companies must also be laser focused on creating a culture of belonging where people with disabilities feel appreciated and connected. And if this isn't enough to change the focus of the fashion industry, then let empathy be the motivator. Step into the shoes of a person with a disability and imagine if you dreamed of fashion and your dreams were dashed. Let that sink into your heart. Now, along this road of thinking, what if fashion's biggest names and emerging designers did 3 things? First, tap into the talent already hidden in the fashion industry. Make it a safe place for people who are disabled to disclose their disabilities without the fear of retaliation, so they can contribute to the designs that help and serve the disabled. Second, hire people with varying disabilities at all levels of the companies and all types of role. Be a magnet for the disabled who love fashion. Finally, I ask you to be brave and commit to making one piece of fashionable adaptive clothing or a pair of shoes for a person with a disability. What if there was a collective effort? Imagine. Fashion is a connection we all have in common, and it brings back wonderful memories for me with my parents. In The Wizard of Oz, a fantasy and mystical story, there were so many themes. It had dreams. It had imagination. It had diversity, inclusion, belonging, and empathy. And besides those magical ruby red shoes that had special powers that I loved so much, it was the Cowardly Lion and the Tin Man who stood out to me the most. Be brave, like the Cowardly Lion becomes, and find your heart, like the Tin Man. I am a reminder that anyone can become disabled at any time. Lift up people with disabilities and give your time, talent, resources to people with disabilities. Please don't forget us. Please don't forget me. I still want to wear those ruby red shoes. Thank you.